On to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to the live match reaction to Everton 1, Manchester City 3. Everton go down to a very impressive City side. It was a much improved performance from last week, but that wasn't saying much. I'm joined by Terry. I'm just going to try and run through what ended up a pretty routine win for a team who are probably going to go on and run away with this league now, aren't they? I mean, what did you make of that one, Terry?
Well, we were in the game for 70 minutes, weren't we? And then their quality told with that Mahrez goal. And then, a couple of Everton players, dropped their levels for the third goal, and that was it. Worst team in the world to try and chase a lead against. And probably the best team, pound for pound, in world football. And we just came up short. I can't really say it was a particularly bad performance from us. It was just feels worse because we lost against Fulham.
Exactly. I think I'm too busy being angry about the Fulham results to be angry about that. I mean, we didn't play that badly in this game. If we'd have played like that against Fulham, we win.
Yeah, it's just difference in mentality and attitude. We seem to pay the appropriate amount of respect to the good teams, or when we go away to other teams' grounds. But this one was more like it, from an application point of view. It's the same issues, though, isn't it? That we've said, it holding us back anyway. Pickford's awful for their third goal. He's, if we've got a strong answer that he saves it. Michael Keane, he's
arms like breadsticks in.
Yeah, Michael Keane plants his feet, so Bernardo goes past him, and Sigurdsson's just nowhere to be seen. So there's quite a few players at fault in that third goal, but
Definitely.
The first goal's unlucky. It's a big deflection, and then the second goal from them is quality. So if we'd have all done our job, we probably still would have lost 2-1. So I can't really complain.
Odds are, yeah. But no, I thought we played. I thought we played relatively decently, particularly in the first half. I thought we were all right. If we'd have played, like I say, if we'd have played like that against Fulham, we'd have probably won. I know Fulham turned up, but I still think if we'd have turned up like that, I think we would have overcome them. It was all. I'm still more upset about the Fulham game, to be honest with you. This is pretty trivial because they've been battering everybody lately. I thought, with that in mind, I thought we came out of it with a bit more respect than a lot of sides that we've played against them recently. But even then, you're always going to be up against it when you've got a team with that much quality.
Yeah, just look at the two benches, like the players they had on the bench was unreal, like De Bruyne and Aguero and players like that. So if it had been a tighter game, that might have decided it, like the Man United game in the Cup, where they did the bench toll. So I honestly, I can't. It's frustrating, because, like you say, because of the Fulham game, but I can't look at that performance tonight and get too angry about that in isolation, because they're a team.
They're a good team. They're a great team, but I think for me, it's more that, like, we're disappointed to have dropped points against a team we'd probably be expected to drop points against, because we didn't pick up the points that we dropped on the weekend.
I'll put it this way: going off that performance, the way we applied ourselves in the first 70 minutes, I think we're in with a shout in the cup game. I think when we go again in the cup game and it's back at Goodison, and City will be in the middle of a Champions League, sort of round.
We'll have players back as well. Players who are missing.
I think we'll have it in us to beat them. Still won't be easy, because, like I say, this squad's unbelievable. But I've seen enough tonight, because if we'd have just got rolled over from the minute one, we didn't lay a glove on them, then I'd be worried. But I think when we play them again in the cup, I think we've got a shout.
Yeah, I hope so, because a lot of our season rides on that. Like you say, I know it's Manchester City, but it's another 3 points dropped. I think we're rapidly falling away from European race, to be honest, at this rate. I think the side's creeping up on us. I'm really concerned now for our prospects of getting into Europe via the league. I think we need to really throw everything at that FA Cup now.
Wouldn't be writing the league off, though. It's still a long way to go. There's a lot of games to play, and it's very tight. It seems bad now. But you put 2 or 3 wins together, which we're capable of doing, then it looks very different. So I wouldn't. This week from now to Saturday night is the hardest part of our season. We've got the City game, which we really shouldn't be playing now. We should have played them in December. We've got the City game, and then we're away at Anfield, the 2 of the hardest fixtures we can have. Once we're over that, no matter what happens, it doesn't get any harder than that the rest of the season. It only gets easier. So it's it's hard to look at it like that at the minute. But this is the toughest, phase of the season we'll have. And if we come out of it poorly, then it's not the end of the season. There's always a chance to go and correct it almost and still be in the mix for the European places. And I think that's the way. Certainly sounds like that's the way Ancelotti's looking at it in his press conferences. Doesn't want to get too hung up on these results because it can change like that.
Yeah, we've got to hope it does, because the way things are going, it's really going against us. The last couple of weeks, pretty much the last couple of weeks in terms of league form anyway. We had that very good result in the cup, but other than that, it's been pretty poor in the league, save for the last minute equaliser. I just think we need to get our act together in the league again. I think we'll see how the derby goes. Obviously, I'm not buzzing about the prospect of facing them at any time, no matter how well we're doing, how whether we're doing, how badly they're doing. I just think whatever that is, I just want that out the way. But it's a case of we just need to get back on track as quickly as we can, because we can't afford to keep making, dropping silly points. I mean, these aren't silly points. These were the hardest 3 points to probably gain all season that we haven't got today, but there's plenty of others where we should have picked them up and we haven't. I think that's what hurts is that we were pinning our hopes on actually getting something out of this game because we've dropped points in games that we shouldn't have. I think Harry Jones made a good point here. No shame in losing to City this season, though. Absolutely quality side. We all saw that coming. I think we saw it coming in some capacity, but I wasn't expecting us to up, to be honest. I'm surprised we did as well as we did to keep them away for a while. Carl Molyneux says Pickford should have saved the silver shot. He also said we could have drawn the game if we closed down the shot. You mentioned there Keane and Sigurdsson didn't show themselves in glory for that goal either. It's one of them. I think Carl said
a bit harsh on the Mahrez shot. All right, we could have done better, but that was a great goal.
Oh, that one, that's just a class goal.
Bernardo.
I'm more referring to the Bernardo goal.
Yeah, absolutely, the Bernardo goal. Yeah, but Mahrez one was quality.
Yeah. I'm not too optimistic for the weekend. Fallon and TCL are back. I'll be more optimistic. That is literally how it is. We've got to just hope that the personnel are there to take part. Otherwise, we could be in serious trouble in that game. But that's for another day. It was focusing on this game. Erwin Koeman says sums up Pickford's Everton career. This game probably does. I think other than that, I don't think he made any other considerable errors. But he's always got that weak save that he should have kept it out. He's done it on a couple of occasions recently.
He wasn't too bad in it other than that, but you can't. Doesn't work like that if you're a goalkeeper. If you're culpable when a goal goes in, doesn't matter how many good saves you've made. It brings your overall score down, and we need. He's not far from the only one. He certainly wasn't our worst player, but we need a new keeper in the summer. We need one.
Yeah, Toffee Blues Johns just popped up saying we need a new goalkeeper, right back, and centre mid. If we get the chance, sell Keane, he won't want to stay. I think take the money and run for Moise Keane, to be honest. I think if we try too hard to hold on to him, I don't think he's as hard in it here. We force him to stay and he sulks. I think it's the similar position we had with Ademola Lookman, where he went on loan. He did very well at Leipzig, and then instead of taking the money and running, a year later, I think his price probably went down a little bit when we ended up selling him on. We still got a profit for him nonetheless, but I feel like we could have got an even bigger profit off the high stock that he had at the end of his first spell at Leipzig.
I understand, people want to see him back because, it feels like we've failed to utilize him when it really, if you cast your mind back, he was not like this when he was here. I was really hopeful when we got Moise Kean that he was going to be quality. And I do think there was times where, it wasn't all his fault. But on the whole, it's just not a good match. Mo Salah was crap at Chelsea. It's just one of those things. Like sometimes a club doesn't match, sometimes a league doesn't match a player. Keane, if we, the better I think when he went out on loan, I don't think there was ever any thought from any of the parties involved that he would be coming back. I think he wants to go elsewhere. I think we're happy to, make a profit on him, and the better he does, the bigger the profit. And I'm sure his agent's happy, Mino Raiola, for him to get a move as well. So
Mino Raiola's main ambition as an agent is for players to change hands.
Yeah, I think if we can, I think we'll move him on. I think we'll get a decent profit. I think the idea, the talk of 60 million euros is a bit fanciful with this, COVID time, but 35 million, maybe some pounds, maybe like that's a tidy, profits on him, and he goes on. He's happy. We go our separate ways, and he has a career, good career at the top club, and it wouldn't be like we missed out on him because we had him in. It just didn't work. It didn't fit. Didn't gel. It's just seen it happen loads of times. Used to happen to Liverpool constantly. They used to buy like Morientes and people like that who were quality, get there and they'd go crap and then they'd leave and they go good again. Sometimes it's just a bad match. Yeah, like we've had it. This is just another one. But if they're young, like Vlasic is doing well where he is now. Like if they're young, they'll go on and do well. Yeah, sorry, if they're young, we can get the money back for them because there's a chance they can go on and do well. It's when we buy older players and have to move them on as a problem.
Yeah, we're seeing that now, and we'll get on to that in terms of some of the other personnel because Sigurdsson played. I thought Sigurdsson actually played relatively well in his number 10 role today. It was only when the subs happened and he went back into his number 6 role, which is where he's always made an absolute embarrassment of himself. And he did it again when he went back there today. But surely Carlo's got to realise that he can't. I understand maybe his hands are tied. We are down to the bare bones in that position a little bit at the moment. He wanted to rest Tom Davis. I think, obviously, with all things being equal, if we had a fully fit squad, I don't think Sigurdsson ever gets near that number 6 role because he's absolutely terrible at it. It was his fault. That the move come together for the third goal. You almost gave away a fourth at the end as well. And, it was. And it's a shame because I actually thought Sigurdsson played all right as the number 10 before the subs. I think there's a lot of people bashing him, but I thought he was relatively decent until he dropped back and then he was really poor. And it's a case of square pegs in round holes. Go on, what? Sorry.
I think I figured out the times when Sigurdsson plays well. And it's when we're going to be defensive for most of the game. And he's in the number 10 role and he sits on there, number 6. Did it against Chelsea, did it against Arsenal, he done it against
Spurs last week.
Yeah, and he's done it today for the most part against Rodri. And that tends to, when he has good games, it's always when he does that. We're going to defend most of the game, we're going to have less of the ball, and he sits on there, number 6, and makes it hard for them to get things going. When we're pulling back into the deeper part past the midfield, number 6, I saw Matt Jones from the Blue Room tweet this, and he's absolutely bob on. He doesn't want the ball, he doesn't know how to defend, and he just doesn't know where to stand. He's just all at sea when he's at the number 6 role. When he's that far back in midfield, he's just useless. There's no point having him there. And I don't know whether it was, I've made me peace that Carlo loves him. I'm not bothered by that. He clearly loves him. He sees a role for him. He sees a position for him. That's fine. But he had to.
His role is a number 10. He's not. He's never a number 6. Never ever. And the problem with that is it's personnel.
I don't know. I just don't see. Tom Davies been having 2 good games in a row and took him off for him. And I don't know whether that's a tactical thing because he thinks, well, Sigurdsson's not as good defensively as him, but I need someone who's better creative or who's better with set pieces. Because I don't know what to
I
think.
think he has one eye on. He has one eye on the derby. I think Davis needs to play in that game. Sigurdsson probably doesn't because we saw how he played. He plays against them sometimes, and he's never. I don't think he's ever performed well against Liverpool. So I think Davis is more likely to put in a decent performance in the derby than Sigurdsson.
Sigurdsson scores against Liverpool. You know about?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, but that was that was. Well, put it this way, he wasn't in a number.
I'm not making a case for Sigurdsson to play the derby, but I don't know. I don't think it's that because if he hadn't took Davis off in the Fulham game, I would have believed that. But I don't think if Carlo was thinking about the derby, I think he would have took Decore off because he was on a yellow card, and he didn't.
And Decore is absolutely knackered.
I think he's I think getting Alan back will help Decore. He's obviously been doing a lot more work because he's playing with the weaker midfielders, and he has been since December. Or was it November when Alan got injured? He's been playing with them for months. Alan was right. I really hope that Alan's fit for the derby, just because I don't want to see Sigurdsson or Gomez starting in the midfield against, because they've got whatever you say about Liverpool's form at the minute, they've got the most energetic midfield department of the whole league.
We need to go as close to pound for pound with them.
Honestly, Sigurdsson or Gomez will just get absolutely overrun in that against Liverpool's midfield. So I really hope Alan's back. Not because Alan's this well-beaten player, but at least he's more, up to that job. That type of match.
More work on life, isn't he?
Yeah. So if possible, I'd like to see Davies, Decore, and Alan, but it depends if they're fit.
Yeah. Right. A few people in the chat. Ham Eggs Rodriguez says, I thought Decore was poor. Maybe he was. I wasn't paying loads of attention to it, but Decore is absolutely goosed. He's been carrying the weight of that midfield for weeks.
It was below his normal level, wasn't it?
Absolutely. That's the Corinthian said Tom looked knackered in the second half. He probably did. Again, between them, Davis and Decore have been carrying the midfield for weeks. Probably as long as Alan's been out.
Yeah, Davies has really, made the claim with that when Alan's been out. He's the only one who sees the opportunity. Gomez and Sigurdsson have had the odd game where they've been good. Like Gomez got a couple of assists, Sigurdsson's got a couple of goals, but neither of them have been consistent in the whole time. The only one who's been good for the majority of that time has been Davies. So I think, at the minute, it's I've said this on a few different videos, seems to be in this team at the minute, Alan and Decore, and then a revolving door of the other three. Each one takes a turn. Davies, Sigurdsson, and Gomez, and they'll have a few games where they're terrible, and then the other one comes in, and then he has a few games where he's terrible, and then the other one comes in, and it just does that constantly. And they'll have the odd, little good storm and cameo, or they'll have the odd good game, and they're like, oh, we'll play them, and Sigurdsson did it, and Gomez did it when he was coming off the bench against Sheffield United, and now at the minute, Davies, I'd say, is the player to go in alongside them, but we do need Alan back desperately.
Yeah, I think if we have Alan, Decore, and Davis, I think we've got a decent chance of competing in that derby. If not, I think we're in trouble because, like I say, like you just said, Gomez and Sigurdsson will just point at each other until the cows come home. But Jagger Hughes says a win against the Red Shite is a must. The understatement of the century, Jagger. Cheers, mate. I don't think of. I mean, it's one of them. James Rodriguez says, I think Big Duncan messed things up with Moise Keane. I don't know about that.
Don't agree with that. At the time, I was a bit like, oh, that's a bit funky, that. But when I'm thinking back now, no, that if subs, so he did it again. He did it to, I think it was Tosin or Iwobi, might have been both. Dunk, in other games, he subs all the time. And if you're that fragile that you fall apart when you get treated like that, then you're not up to Premier League football. Moise Keane played about 12 to 15 more times under Carlo after that. Like, it's... So, I remember Keane did that a lot. He'd come off the bench and he wouldn't know what he was doing, where he was meant to be, and he would have cost us that match if he'd.
He just stayed on.
So I understand people thinking that because it's not commonly done. It seems like a harsh, manager trying to make a point of embarrassing a player. But honestly, if you can't take something like that, then you shouldn't be a footballer, because that's just ridiculously soft. He's still playing. He scored the Champions League. It didn't ruin him, did it? To ruin a player means he never get. It's not like we never got him back. He never came back. He scored against Barca last night.
Exactly, yeah. When Coleman said, is it too much to ask for a fit squad for once? Like, this is Everton, allowed a fit squad unless it's the opening day of the season.
I know. We've had...
I can't remember. I was saying this, like, I don't think since that year when we got the top 4 in, like, 2004, like, I don't think we've had, like, a season with hardly any injuries.
No. Usually teams who don't get any injuries are the one that they do really well, like Leicester when they won the league, or Liverpool last year when they won the league. Like, they don't get large amounts of injuries. They might get 1, they might get 2 at a time at most, but they don't tend to get like 3 or 4 players out at a time. And if they are, they come back very quickly. Most teams don't get that. So there's only one team in the league who can cope with multiple injuries, and that's Man City, because look at their bench tonight.
Yeah, even City have, like, to be honest, they've had their injuries this season. They've just handled it better because of the strength of the squad.
Yeah.
But it's one of them. We definitely need to strengthen that squad in the summer. We need to, as John said before, right back centre mid, and definitely a goalkeeper for me. Matty Flynn says we need Alan back badly. Can't wait till Sigurdsson's gone forever. I'll be honest. I think I can see a lot of the hate for Sigurdsson. I know there was the Fulham game, was awful, and he was awful, but I think every now and then he'll perform as a substitute. He's useful, but we can't have him anywhere near the starting 11 or established starting 11. But I think he's just getting too much game time for what he's worth to the team at the moment. And also, I think when he is getting on the pitch, he's playing in the number 6 role, which is making him look even worse. I think. I'll be honest. That's like,
if you're going to play him in tandem, like sort of 1 in, 1 out with James, that works for me. Depends on the opposition. Now, I know that sounds daft because one's a far better player, but if you're going to have loads of the ball and the onus is going to be on you to create and win, James is your man. But if you're going to be defending all game against a superior side and you want a player who's just going to sit on the opposition number 6, then Sigurdsson's the one, because he's done that well. But you can't play him deeper in the midfield because he's awful at it, and you can't play him when you need to be controlling.
He'll never put a tackle in his life. How can you ever play him as a defensive midfielder?
No. So, if you're going to defend most of the game, play him in the number 10 and have him harass the opposition 6. And if you're not going to play like that, you're going to have more of the ball and have a proper match, then you've got to play James. Because the one weakness James has, I don't think he's going to do that Sigurdsson job well, where he's going to sit on the opposition 6. So that's the only way I'd keep Sigurdsson, which, frankly, a specialist job like that is a bit poor for your club record side. You want him to be your best player, but thanks, Steve Walsh.
Yeah, but James Rodriguez is probably our best player, and he's free. So, swings and roundabouts, I guess. John said, thoughts on Richarlison's performance tonight. Jagger said, Richie himself had himself a better game, more desire, elegance continues and sparks life. Of course, that was Richarlison's first goal in the league for 2 months as well. So, that gets him, he got 2 in the cup and now this in the league. So, he's back on track a little bit, which is great to see. So, a Richarlison in form is always good news as far as we're concerned. That'll help us no end. We'll see how we get on. Obviously, I think Everton missed DCL against City tonight, like Goodison, Eugene said. Yeah, I think we're always going to miss Calvert-Lewin, but I think Richarlison did an excellent job up front today. I think holding the ball up and that. We've seen a lot of people debating whether he can play as an out-and-out striker. I think he showed he could. today. You know, I'm not saying he's cut out for that every game, but shows when it's horses for courses, he can hold the ball up and, like, you know, take the pressure off us when we need him to.
Yeah, he did his job really well. It was a thankless job. You know, it's not his forte holding the ball up and bringing other players in. He likes to spin off a player like that and you know, attack down the sides. But he did it well. You know, it was not the easiest job to do, and he got his goal. Don't think it was his best looking goal, but probably the scruffiest goal he's ever scored. But he'll have it. So he did
Yeah, he
well.
certainly will.
I don't understand why we keep playing him centrally and Josh King on the left. I would have thought when Josh King comes on that Richarlison go to the left or he'd be a two, but he seems to play Josh King on the left every time he comes on and keep Richarlison central. Don't get it.
I'm intrigued by that as well. I'm looking forward to seeing Josh King actually play up front, but I'm not sure if we'll ever see that if he doesn't ever go to a 4-4-2. But Semi Charm Life said Ricky Lee's my man of the match.
It wasn't his
scored
name.
with me.
It wasn't. It was like his ass cheek / his thigh, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
he went for it with his knee, missed. It hits the post and it comes back and hits him on like the side of the thigh. I thought that's what he meant, but I was.
That's disgusting. I mean, I thought Umar Nias had like copyrighted scoring with your ass.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, when all players are fit, Adam says, we need a midfield three of Decore, Allen Davis. Bad news coming from Johnny here. Yerry Mina's going to miss the derby.
Ah, wonderful.
That's a big loss. Have we ever had a 15 to play in a derby? Ever?
No. We never do. There's always someone who gets injured before the derby or suspended or a couple of injuries, but whatever. Like, I just hope we play Godfrey and Keane as the centre backs rather than Holgate and Keane, because I don't like Holgate and Keane as a partnership. Godfrey and Keane, I think, has got the potential to be our long-term partnership, personally. But we went to that in the second half. Godfrey and Keane with Dean left back and Holgate right back. That's what I'd do. You know, that's what I hope we do. I hope we start like that rather than have, you know, Holgate at centre back with Keane with Coleman at right back, because I think that's asking for trouble against Liverpool's forwards.
Yeah, definitely. Last of the Corinthians says, until the squad's improved in summer, we're going to struggle at times. It is what it is. Blue Nose Dublin says, try and stay positive. I think we're going to finish 10th, 11th or 12th. Other sides playing with confidence as we are conceding goals aplenty. I don't see the season going. I'm not happy with how things are, but I don't think they'll end up that bad. You know, to end up 10th, 11th or 12th, you're talking below 50 points. And as bad as we've been lately, we're on course to finish higher than 50 points. I'd like to think, you know, I'd like to think, even if the season doesn't go as planned and we might miss out on Europe, I don't think it'll be as low as that.
We'll finish
but sorry.
We'll finish 6th or 7th.
Yeah, that's where I can see it. I'm just praying that that's enough to get us Europe. You know,
it'll be the normal to make up the top 6 or 7. Will be the normal top 6. Leicester and us, so we'll be in that mix. You know, what about West Ham? Yeah, but West Ham are playing all the top teams in the next 4 or 5 games. They're playing, and that's where Moyes is not good. So I expect West Ham to drop off massively in the next few weeks, because Moyes has done what Moyes for a run of results together. Credit to him against the other 14 teams. He won't turn up against the rest. So I reckon it'll be the top 6, the Sky 6, Leicester and us, and I think we'll finish above 1 or 2 of them. I don't know which. It could be just the 1 and we finish above maybe Arsenal, or it could be 2, we finish above Arsenal and Spurs, who knows.
Yeah, those teams are kind of coming up on the rails though, so we do need to get our act together quickly.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't. The season doesn't end on Saturday night. There's still. We could win the derby. I'm not even going to go into the derby because it'll be here all night. But even if we don't win the derby,
we're not going into the derby, honestly, mate.
Yeah,
Semi-Charm, like says, believe we'll finish 8th.
There's loads after that. That would be probably the lowest I'd expect us to finish. I reckon 6th or 7th.
Let's go 7th. Everton Azul says David Richarlison receives a ball with his back towards goal and holds it to maybe pass or turn and run it and say the Sky 04. I disagree with that, to be honest, mate. I thought he did that on a couple of occasions tonight alone. I mean, I know he sometimes doesn't do it, and he makes the wrong decision, but I thought he did that on a couple of occasions quite well. Not more than that one where he trapped it and volleyed it out wide to Iwobi. I thought that was excellent.
Yeah.
You know, I personally think that Richarlison does that rather well. Arguably better than anybody else in our team.
He's not that type of striker, is it? I mean, you could say Mo Salah's a striker, and if you'd asked him to do that, he'd be shit at that as well. He'd probably do it all right sometimes, popping off, little layoffs, but it wouldn't suit him, would it?
No, it is what it is, But in a position where we're playing him up top and he's done the job that was asked of him to a relatively decent standard when you consider we're up against very difficult opposition. I thought Richarlison was very impressive given the circumstances.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Adam Galloway says, just tuned in, but ducking disgusted from Fabian Delph. Honestly, I think we know what. If anyone who's tuning in has been tuned into this since the final whistle blew, you might have missed it. But apparently, Delph was just having a laugh with the City players right after the final whistle had gone and we just got beat. He had a big grin on his face, and that's just typical of Fabian Delph. He's an absolute disgrace to this club. The sooner he's out the door, you can bash like your Sigurdssons and Gomez as much as you like, but at least every now and then they give you a little bit of a contribution. I think Fabian Delph is an absolute disgrace to the club. He's the one, and I know there's a lot of like Brands detractors. I think he's done a really good job. I think Delph is the one blot on Marcel Brands' copybook.
They all do it. Like he's an absolute world-class knobhead, Delph. But you can't say that's a Delph thing. They all do it. Richarlison was doing it. He was not quite like
Delph,
Richie
was doing it. Probably says Jordan Pickford was doing it with Stones and more, England teammates and that. And I do get that. I think it's more that like
anyone who's international teammates do that all the time. The only reason you can see it now is because they can't do it in the tunnel because they're both going 2 separate ways, so they're doing it on a pitch. That is football. Lukaku, when he played for us, used to do that with Pogba every time we'd lose to Man United. He'd practically be doing, his dance routines with Pogba after the match, made up, to see his mate. That is not new. That's been going on ages. You're just seeing a lot more now because they're not hiding it behind closed doors. It's something you're going to have to just get on with. Delph's a knobhead, but that's not something he's guilty of in isolation. They all do it. And when we win, opposition players do that to our players as well. I don't like it. I wish it'd stop, but you can't lay that at the feet of Fabian Delph. For me, there's plenty of other reasons to hate him. I don't think that's one of the ones you can say is his fault.
I'll be honest, maybe you're being harsh there, but I just think there's plenty, like you say, there's plenty of reasons to hate him. I think he's an absolute, disgrace, and like the sooner we can bomb him out, the better. Like, because I'll be honest, I think he's poison for our dressing room.
He's only got himself fit to sit on the bench so we can talk to the City players. He'll be off that bench with an injury against Liverpool. Full well he will do. He won't be on anyway. He won't be past fit for the Liverpool game because he's past himself fit. Oh yeah, I'm fine for this because he wants to sit and talk to the City players.
Probably, yeah. Well, I hope to God that is the case and he is sitting out the next one because I don't want him anywhere near any part of our first team, really. If the old days of punishing players by sticking them in the reserve was a thing, then he'd be the first on the list, I mean, a stop short of what Coleman did to Nias, but he can't be far off deserving of that because he's just an absolute dick. Sorry, I'm just going off on I've just gone off on one there, but yeah. Toffee Blue John said James trying to cancel the Delph shirt I've got sending your way. Yeah, I think that'd probably be wise of you, John. Cheers, mate. Last of the Corinthians says Iwobi's a blot on Brands transfers too. I beg to differ on that one, to be honest. I think Iwobi's starting to improve. I think this season has been a major improvement from Iwobi on last season. I think he's growing into the team. I think I think he's the best person to take on that role on the right wing. I think we saw it again today. I thought Iwobi was excellent today. I thought he held onto the ball brilliant. He's one of the few players I think in our team I feel like can drive us forward. And he did it against Wolves on a few occasions.
If we had an attacking right back with him ahead of them, he'd be amazing. Because the only thing he can't do is cross. If he could slip in a right back who could cross, then it'd be great. It's the only thing he can't do, but everything else he's really good at. I agree with you. I don't consider him a blot on Brands' copybook at all. I think he's a good player, and Carlo Ancelotti's getting the best out of him, and he'll improve.
Yeah, well, that was it. I've agreed with people who said that maybe at the end of last season, but all of this season I've seen him gradually improve, and we saw performances like the one against Wolves. You see what he's capable of, and he's still young, like we say. He's another one in that group who can grow as a player, and I feel like he is. Like you say, I think Carlo Ancelotti's probably helping improve him from the mental side of his game, because I think that was his only real weakness, was his decision making, and I feel like that's really improved. And let's not forget that you say about him slipping in a right back, he slipped in Coleman for that in the build up to that goal, and I know Coleman's not the best crosser of a ball as right backs go, but he played his part in the build up to our goal this evening as well.
Sorry, I was just looking at the comments then.
Yeah, what have we got going on here? Paul Elliott says who starts at right back at the weekend. I'd stick with Mason Holgate. I think. Yeah, I'm not completely sold on him at right back. Jonathan Haddock actually says Holgate very weak at right back. I'm not sold on it. It's not what I want to see, but I just think defensively he's a bit better than Coleman. I think pound for pound with Mane, he'll probably manage it a little bit better than Coleman could at this stage of Coleman's career. A couple of years back, as I said, Coleman, no brainer, but I just don't know if he can manage the 90 minutes against Sadio Mane, who's one of the quickest wingers there is.
Much of a muchness. Neither of them are really what I want at right back, but if you ask me that question at the minute, Holgate, I suppose, because then he's not playing centre back alongside Keane. We'd have Godfrey instead.
Yeah, definitely. Paul said the attacking right was responsible for the equaliser tonight. Coleman is the best right back at the club currently. Yeah, he is. He's the only right back at the club currently. I think John Joe Kenny's gone on loan now, so he's the only out-and-out right back we've got, because for the rest of the season we've been playing Holgate or Godfrey there. It's a major position of concern. We need to. I think John said it earlier on in the stream that it's a position that we need to address. It's probably the prime position to address in the summer, in my opinion.
I think Coleman's better as a sub, to be honest. Not as early as he came on today, but when he comes on and he's got the energy to, he only has to run for the 20 minutes, half an hour, or whatever it is. He makes a difference in the game. His energy works in that regard, but then he runs out of steam very early when he starts, I find, and then people can get over the shoulder of him and everything, and you don't want. I don't know. I've seen him play well against Mane before, but whether he can do it again, I'm not raving over Holgate as a right back, but I think Holgate's better at right back than he is at centre back, and I think he's better defensively than Coleman. I think Coleman gets walked past too easily.
I think Holgate is strong and relatively quick. I think he could probably hold his own physically a bit better. I think that's the main reason to go for it, to be honest. Harry Knowles says, how long does Coleman have left? I reckon, if not next season, the season after, it'll probably be his last year. But this has to be, without doubt, his last season with any chance of being the main starter. And even now, I think it's a debate. We're having this debate now as we speak. I think it's next season he's got to be the understudy to a younger right back, and if Marcel Brands, and we're aware he's getting a new contract, if Marcel Brands has got his thinking cap on, he'll already have worked out a few potential targets for the summer. He also said there, Harry, what do we do with Pickford? What do we do with Pickford?
Replace him at the first opportunity.
It's becoming more and more obvious now. Obviously, the situation is, do we get anybody who wants to buy him. Really, we've got
that's a problem because it's big wages. But I'm sorry, you can't be held hostage by a high salary player if he's not good enough. It's not good enough. Get in another goalkeeper. I'm not even saying else. Get in another goalkeeper who's better and more consistent, and you'll change this team in a big way. You'll get your good goalkeepers earn you 10 points a season. Pickford costs us more than that. So get in a better goalkeeper, and the Pickford thing will eventually sort itself out. He's on a long contract on big wages, but I reckon someone would buy him eventually. They might not buy him immediately the second you put him on sale, but someone would buy him for a good price.
Yeah, I think it's one of them. It's a case of cutting our losses, I think, and like you say, the losses in this case are 15 points a season, probably. It's we talk about not only that. I think it just instills a bit more confidence in the team, and that can help you going forward as well.
I know, but there's nothing to be done about that now. That's a summer thing, and I'm not even sure it'll happen then, but I hope it does.
Fingers crossed. Anyway, we'll see how we get on. Paul Elliott says Holgate strutting round, chewing, thinking he's Cannavaro. He's gone backwards this season. I don't think he has necessarily. I mean, he's not been as good as he was last season, but don't forget we've had, Yerry Mina and Michael Keane have both improved on last season. Their performances have massively increased, and Holgate has an injury which gave them the chance to do that. Holgate's now struggling to play his way back into the team because of their form. Godfrey's been excellent in a number of positions. He's probably become the fourth choice after arguably being the first choice at the end of last season. It's not that he's gone backwards, it's that the other three have gone forwards.
Yeah, it's a bit of both, I think. Like, as you say, he was easily the top defender at the club at one point last season. Like, he proved everyone wrong, hadn't he? That he became a good, a really important player. And this season, it's not that he's gone absolutely useless, but he's dropped off his levels massively. And when you're not playing well, people will find little things about you. If Ben Godfrey was chewing gum and having those foot races with people and just roasting them, people would think that was great. He'd go, look at that, he's just never phased. You know what I mean? If you were on top of your game and no one could get past you and you were just smoking people, then the chewing gum thing wouldn't bother anyone. They'd think it was really cool. They'd go, look at him, he's not even bothered. But when you're playing shit or you're not as good as you can be, it looks like you're not asked. So it's just about context with that.
We were saying this before. It was the same as me before with the Richarlison thing. Like, Richarlison is having banter with Brazilian players, and Delph's doing the same, and I'm just bashing Delph because he's crap and he's got a bad attitude. Whereas, you give the likes of Richarlison and some of the English players a free pass.
Holgate's not. I understand he's morphing into everyone's whipping boy, but Holgate's a good player and he's still got ability. He's one of the Carlo's men. He's coming forward with us in the club. If he wants to start regularly, he needs to earn it. But Holgate will come round again. I wouldn't think. I wouldn't worry about him. It's just needs to get his head down, and a good game against Liverpool will go a long way to soothing people's opinion of him.
Oh, that's certainly. I think that'll be the case for a number of players if they decide to turn up on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's many players you could apply that to.
Got to now, haven't he? Whether it happens or not, I don't know. But it's on them now. You've got to go and turn up and get a result.
We've asked this, and generally they have raised the game for the big games this season, more so as we've seen than the lesser games. But this is a massive one. They've got to give everything they've got. I want to see a performance on the level of the Tottenham game in the Cup. That's the level we need to see. Everyone needs to fight for everything. I'd like to see some better defending than the Spurs game.
I'd like us to defend better than that if we could.
Yeah, that would really help. But I just think we need that level of fighting spirit, and we need that kind of commitment and determination. And if we do, we've got a really good chance then. And obviously, we need the right personnel as well. We've mentioned the Allen, Decore, Davis sort of trio would probably be ideal for midfield. If we can have that, then that automatically gives us a better chance.
Yeah, definitely. But a lot of things can happen between now and then. Don't even know who's going to be it, but no me now.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that anyway for tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. Keep your comments coming in after the stream finished as well. Let us know your opinions on this game. And no, it was one of them. I think it was one of them. We've just got to gloss over this and move on to the next one. It's not the next one that we were hoping for. I mean, I don't think anyone's begged for a Merseyside derby to come right after this one, but it is what it is. We've just got to get on with it. Let us know your opinions on this game this evening and how you think it went and what we can do differently for Saturday maybe. So yeah, just keep your opinions coming in. Drop us a comment, like and subscribe. And until next time, thank you for tuning in on the Toffee Blues.